This is our time. This is our time. No matter how many different times I repeat it, this is our time. We gathered together tonight, I hope not because we just wanted to feel good, get a little motivated, maybe have a little wine, laugh. This is our time to make a difference, to make a change. It's not tomorrow, it's right now. I want to introduce myself. My name is Joni Stuker Davis. Actually, who in here has ever been married and divorced? Raise your hand. I hope there's a bunch. All right, good. So here's the problem. Here's the problem with women when we get married in a traditional sense. What do? We take on the name of what? The spouse, correct? So to me, it's like this badge of always saying how I failed. Because my name is actually Joni Brown Bongard Stuker Davis. A lot of names. Now think about it. You meet Bob Peterson, right? Bob seems like a great guy. Bob's been married 4 times. You'd never know why. He's always Bob Peterson. So here's the solution, my friends. Moving forward, we are going to lease our mates. By that I mean this. I like you. I'm going to take you out on a 3-year lease. When it comes to things like anniversaries and birthdays, that's like an oil change. At the end of the 3 years, exactly. At the end of those 3 years, what can you do? You can walk away, no problems asked. I think it's our answer. Now, I sold, exactly. You know where you could sell this? Las Vegas. Guarantee we could get it done in a heartbeat. So, who am I? My hair's different. Well, I'll tell you the story. I was raised in a family of all girls. Middle child. Who's a middle child? We know middle children, don't we? Always seeking attention. I was a little kid that would go to school and put Band-Aids on my legs with no cuts. Just seeking somebody to say, what happened? Problem with that story is what? A couple days later, the Band-Aids came off. There's no cuts, nothing. The kids are going, what happened? I'm like, oh, shoot, caught again. So, I was raised Catholic. Anyone else raised Catholic? Ooh, how about these words? Catholic guilt. Ring a bell? My mother today still says when I call, hello, stranger. It's like just a little turning out the right. Oh, gosh. So Catholic guilt, here we go. I go to school, we moved to Missouri, Jefferson City, small town, didn't know it was the capital. I'm young, I'm in grade school. Our uniform skirts were forest green plaid with a forest green sweater. You know those. Walking into school, here's the problem. My mother bought my sweater on sale and it was pea green. So I'm a wrong color sweater. That's bad. Sister Peter, I'm in my homeroom first day, right? Sister Peter said, stand up, we have a new student. I'd like to introduce you to Joni Brown. I raised my hand, I said, sister, my name is pronounced Joni. She said, well, it's not spelled that way, so we're gonna call you Joni Brown. Whole class laughed. Underneath my breath, I said, what? I hated that nun, all right? Now, the good thing is this. They forced us to go to confession every week. And I mean, think about it. What are you confessing? You're 9 years old. I now had a sin. I'd go to confession and go, I hate Sister Peter. So, we had a talent show. It was a great thing. We had a talent show. And I always thought I wanted to be this great vocalist, right? Oh, I can sing. You know you're not a good singer when you start to sing and they turn the radio up louder. You're everywhere you go. Like, so I registered at this Catholic school to go on stage and sing. I'm brave. I don't care. I get up there. Oh, my goodness. The song I picked was Cecilia, You're Breaking My Heart. Anybody in my generation, you're the same age. Do you remember that song? Okay, great. Here's the problem. I'm standing up there and I'm singing it, and the words go like this. When I come back to bed, someone's taking my place. I got pulled off the stage and into detention. I didn't know we were talking about sex. I had no idea. Singing my song in my pea green sweater. But I've been a fighter, right? So I remember one day in school, the nun was picking on this kid, and you know why they pick on him? Because he looked vulnerable, right? She's picking on him. So I, of course, verbally say, why didn't you lay off, right? Ease up. She takes me up to the front of the class, and what does she do? Hits me across the face, right? So then she says to me, turn the other cheek like in the Bible. I said, well, that's not happening, sister. Back I go to detention again. I kept saying to my mother, these nuns are crazy. She's like, what'd you do wrong? There we go. I saved up my money, our generation. Do you remember? We had clackers. They were glass balls. Think of this toy. Right, on strings, and you clack the glass together. Right, no safety issue there. Glass flying off left and right. What was happening? Our hot dogs were dye red. We used to lay out in the sun and put iodine in baby oil and lay on aluminum sheets. Praying for what? Come on, give me cancer. I dare ya. My first swimming suit I bought myself, I remember this. It was a baby doll swimming suit. It was hot pink, baby doll. I could not wait for the first day that the pool opened. I was so stoked. Jump in the pool with my friends, public pool, of course. And the next thing I know, my friends are all laughing at me. Why? I was in a pool of pink dye. All of the chlorine rinsed off the dye. I came out, I had a white baby doll suit on. I cursed Montgomery Wards for years after that. So we moved forward. Those are my young years. We moved forward. Went to college in Madison, Wisconsin, great school. Didn't think I'd be a parent. Young I was. I never really planned things. That's my problem. So I ended up in Indianapolis, Indiana. Why? My charming first husband. So I'm in Indianapolis, Indiana, and you know what? I decided I really wanted to be a great writer. I thought, you know what? I like to write. I'm a writer. I don't have 22 books, okay, but I'm a writer. Everybody remember George Costanza from Seinfeld? I loved it. What was he? An architect. Why? Because he already said it. What am I? So I made no money as a writer, so I had to get a part-time job at what was new then was the Olive Garden. Oh, yeah. So I'm in the restaurant as a waitress less than a week, and I get demoted. Not good. They demote me to the bar to serve food. I wasn't a bartender. I had to serve appetizers to the clients. So one night, I go over. There's a group of people. I'll go over, introduce myself, and they were with a new station called ESPN. Wow. They were there for the Indy 500 time trials and for the race. So they asked me, they said, well, what do you do besides waitressing? And I said, I'm a writer. So they invited me to go down to the track the next day, which of course I did. I went into the PR office, went up, and they got my credentials. And they said, well, where do you work? Who do you work for? And I said, Cosmopolitan Magazine. Why not? Sounded good, right? I got a press badge on. It says Cosmo. I'm hot. I'm in my late 20s. I'm flying through the pits. I'm interviewing Danny Sullivan, Kevin Kogan, race car guys. And they kept saying the same thing. When will the article be published? I'd say, soon. I got a hunch about this one, Jim. I think it's going to work. Then I ended up somehow selling cars. My life. Okay, so I'm selling cars. Why did I sell cars? Because, quite frankly, I needed a car. And during those days, you got a free car if you sold cars. Made sense. I could do that. So, I know. No training. No idea what I'm doing. So I sell cars. And then I moved into, what was my favorite, I became a consultant to the auto industry. Had no idea what I was doing, but I'll teach you how to do that. So, here's my concern about us. And I listen to every day, and I'm getting older. But I listen to people, I listen to women, and I hear it over and over again. We seem to fear rejection. And I don't know what's wrong with me. I kind of like it. It's twisted, I know. But I've always believed that a no meant a yes. It's just not no right now. It's probably why I got married so often, right? You don't mean no, but like no, okay. In fact, when I was selling cars, somehow I came up with this great idea. If you heard the word no 6 times in a row, the next word would be a yes. See, if you say it with conviction, it sounds good. I used to sit across from a consumer, and I would take a piece of paper out, and I would write the word no 6 times. Then I would turn it around and say, recite this out loud. And he'd go, no, 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 no. And I go, great, now that we got that out of the way, yes is next. Why not? I became a consultant. Oh my gosh, the stories I can tell you. I've trained all over the world. Stories. One of my first encounters going into a car dealership to sell training. I walked in, I introduced myself to the owner, and he looked at me and he was angry. And he said, come with me, right? I'm like, oh my gosh. So I walked behind him. I got my briefcase from probably Target, if it was around then. And I went into his office, and he took the top drawer of his desk out, and it was threw the contents on top of his desk. And there was business cards everywhere, right? And he looks at me and he goes, if I could sell a car to each one of you son of a you-know-what's trying to sell me something, I'd be rich. So I'm sitting there thinking, what do you do with this one, right? So here's what I did. I took my arm, I slid all the cards off into the floor, I put mine in the middle of the empty desk. I said, now you met somebody that can help you. Strong, right? What do you think happened? He threw me out. Okay, but I got thrown out proud. I'm broke, mind you. No money, but proud and strong. Don't fear rejection. What's the worst thing? I was hired in by this dealer in Albuquerque. He's no longer in business. Wonder why. Sorry. Okay. Anyway, brought me in and he said, Joni, I believe we have some hiccups in our organization. I'd like you to spend the day, look at my dealerships, tell me what's wrong, we'll regroup. 3 seconds into the day, I already knew what the problem was, but I hung out for a day. We regroup at the end of that day into his massive, deep maple furniture, this, that, and all these men sitting around a table. They're scared of him, like, oh boy. So he said to me, what did you find out? And I looked at each one of the managers and I said, so they're all the problem. I did hiccups. I thought it was cute. He asked me to leave again. Out of here, girl. I'm like, well, he said, if you weren't a lady, I'd throw you out. I said, I've been thrown out of better places, sir. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. I've owned my own company for years. And I mean, we're talking about a male-dominated industry. There's a dealer group in Chicago. I sat down. I just signed them. I went in for their first meeting. The dealer was berating his employees and then talking awful about his consumers. Left, right. Every time he kept looking at me, he goes, do you always smile? I said, well, don't you ever smile? I mean, Do you know what I did? I just packed up my stuff while he was berating people, put it all in, handed my cars to the poor victims around him and said, I'm out of here, okay? Money's not that important. It's not. Don't look at yourself and think, yeah, but sometimes when we see people that are so successful, it's hard to life balance because we think, you know what, I'm kind of like down here. Really, guys, think about it. Don't try to tackle the world. The world is too big. It is. But you're a small little oyster, you got this, okay? And you can rock it. See, you only have one life. Well, except for, where is she? There she is. Except for what this woman said earlier. But we may go on and on and on. We have one life. One life to really live and embrace. I have done some crazy things. I don't know why. I've decided to take a seaplane in the middle of nowhere in Australia to the Great Barrier Reef and get dropped into a rowboat and picked up like a day later. Luckily, there was a cooler of beer. I'm like, what did I do? Some different choices. I'm not sure that I would. My poor kids are like, where'd you go? One life to live. I hate to get sad. Okay, March 7th, 2017. Where were you? Okay, college, yay. Oh, yay, good for you. Were you really in college? No.
I was actually in Barbados.
Oh, you go in Barbados having fun.
Riding my thesis.
Okay, there we go. All right, good. So you're thinking, who cares? What about March 7th? I'm thinking, well, it's 10 days before St. Patrick's Day. That's all that's registering here. Who in here has been to Coolidge, Arizona? Wow, because you're from Arizona. What were you doing in Coolidge? Friends, Walmart? Okay, wow. They did put in a new McDonald's with double-sided drives now. I kept saying, are there enough people here to occupy that? Oh, yeah, it's always busy. Well, I've had a client in Coolidge for probably 7 years. Helped their business grow tremendously. Wonderful. March 7th, I was actually leaving work that day and thinking, you know what? I got it going on. Do you ever have days like when you think it's all together? Got it going on. Then what happens? Usually blows up in your face, doesn't it? Sorry, I tend to not think that way. I think, don't go there, don't go there. I left work March 7th, sitting in my car, driving away. Work is done, going to chill out a little bit. I'm driving on a little highway, stop, had to make a left-hand turn. Put my blinker on, having positive thoughts. What do you think happened? I got hit from the backside dramatically. Car smashed. So the worst thing is right then my seat broke. So my seat broke, which made my seat harness break. What do you think happened next? I got pushed into oncoming traffic. I get hit on. So the car is now this big, which is really frightening. If I would have been conscious, I would have said, oh, come on. Who gets hit by two cars? I mean, what kind of a day is that? Awful. That was my March 7th. Awful. Okay, so I'm in a coma. 34 surgeries. Yeah, I know. Guys, it's like a year and a half ago. Crazy. Here's a good thing about being raised Catholic. They wouldn't let me eat food for like 2 months, right? So starving me down. The only thing I could have was 5 ice chips a day. Really? The doctor would walk by and I'd hang onto his coat going, please, doctor, feed me. Couldn't let me eat, except what? Communion wafers. So like every couple hours, I would ask to see the chaplain. Why? They thought I was suicidal. Oh, no. You always got to find a way to beat the system. Just needed to have a communion wafer. That, my friends, probably a sin in itself. But I actually attempted to bribe the nurse in the ICU, the second ICU, so I was somewhat conscious, $1 million for Diet Coke. I was desperate times, let me tell you. One day I got so sick of it, I said to the nurse, I'm out of here. She said, well, how are you going to go out of here? I said, I'm going to walk. She goes, you don't know how to walk? I said, get out. I didn't know. Didn't know how to walk, didn't know how to talk. Me not talk. I first came to, I thought I was speaking. I'm looking at you and I'm going, I thought it was saying, hey, what the hell happened? Meanwhile, it's coming out like this. They're like, you're so bad. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. It's awful. I know my bad thing. Look, I lost my hair. It's so funny because I was bald. I had great long hair. I'm like, what happened? But it's coming back, so it's all right. So, I'm alive. We got this, right? Don't want to make it so darn dramatic, but guys, at the end of the day, we really need to think through this. We do. We have to challenge ourselves. I mean, I used to think back, I just wanted to take over the world. You know, like my high school counselor's like, what do you want to do? I go, I want to own the world. They're like, okay, bring it down a little, Joan. But it's your world, whatever that means to you. So what I want you to do right now is I just want you to think of one little thing. Just one. One thing when you walk out of the commitment of this evening, because you made a commitment to be here. And I'm proud of you to be here, regardless of our age, gender. I'm so kidding. One thing. I want you to think about why. Why is that important to you? We have so much that's important to us. Isn't it true? When there's so much, I can never, ever get any better at what? Because there's so much to think about. Just one thing. Why is it important? How in the world can you make it happen? And the scariest thing in the world is what? When? When are you going to make the difference? Because I don't know about you, but I think today's probably the best day to do it. And you still have time. Guys, I had 2 minutes between life or death. A year ago, I was still on a walker. I mean, I was pretty good in the walker. Not really. I have to tell you a funny story. I'm in rehab. There's a gentleman there named Eddie. He was about 83. He had the coolest wheelchair, right? I didn't know how to work the wheelchair at all, but I was very stubborn. So I would take myself in my wheelchair all the way around, the little compound. One day I decided to go out through the middle of the courtyard. It's Arizona, June. Nice, 114. Anyway, so I go out through the courtyard, and next thing you know, I'm trying to get in through the other doorway, and I get stuck. Now, I'm laughing, because you can see me. I'm in a wheelchair, and the door's like hitting me, and I'm stuck. All of a sudden, I hear this scream, "Hold on, Joan, I've got you." It's Eddie. Wheeling out. He's 83, right? He swings over. My gosh, we got out of that doorway. I looked at him, I said, "Eddie, you're my savior." Combined our age, we're like 62 years old. What's the one thing you want to change? And why? And when? Okay, so why in the world did I call this Eat the Burrito? Aren't you wondering? I know, it's like, I know, very close. So, I love Mexican food. Who else does? I do. I love it. I do. Now, I've always believed that when you go out to eat especially, there's like this good side person, bad side person, all right? Good side person saying what? Do not eat that guacamole. Do not have that margarita and back away from the sour cream. Okay, so that's the good side. Bad side saying what? Go for it, okay? You only live once. In fact, my mantra was always, what if you died? What if you restricted what you ate and then you died? I'd be pissed. I would. So my whole life, I've never been a thin woman, with the exception of starvation and crying for communion wafers. Let me stress after a couple divorces, but that's okay. So here's what happened. My first doctor that really saved my life, Dr. Thiessen, he said to me, "Joni, if I would have been a thin woman, when that seatbelt turned and eviscerated me," do you know what eviscerated means? It literally carves you out. Poor guys are picking up like, "I got her gallbladder, lower intestine over here." So it carved me out. He said, if you would have been a thin woman, you would have been cut in half. He said, but because you had girth, which I like that. I said, so girth meaning poundage, weight? He said, but because you had girth, you lived. So the moral of the story is what, my friends? Eat the burrito. It could save your life. Thank you. Thank you.